Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with the Social Science Civics chapter number 1 for class 8th. The name of the chapter is The Constitution of India. Before starting the chapter, let me introduce myself to you all. My name is Pallavi Saxena. I am your new social science teacher who is going to teach you social science in your school. I am from Jaipur and recently joined this school. The school premises and all are really missing you all. So let's begin with the chapter, The Constitution of India. I repeat, let's begin with the chapter, The Constitution of India. You have already discussed about what is Constitution, what are the norms of Constitution, the format and the factors which determine the Constitution with Maya ma'am. With this, I had some contents that we are going to study in this presentation. That is glossary, book exercise and the extra questions regarding this chapter. Let's start with the glossary. That is first point, Constitution. I repeat, Constitution. A constitution refers to the basic principles and laws of a nation or state that determine the powers and duties of the government and also provides the platform or base for determining the fundamental rights and duties of the people in its written or unwritten form, embodying the rules of a political or social. Next point is Constitution of India. The Constitution of India is the longest written constitution in the world. It is a set of rules by which the government rules the country. It is the supreme law of the land. It came into effect on 26 January 1950. I repeat, it came into effect on 26 January 1950. Indian Constitution is based on the principles of democracy, socialism and secularism. I repeat, Indian Constitution is based on the principle of democracy, socialism and secularism. To be continued, the third point is the arbitrary, subject to individual will or judgment without restriction, contingent solely upon one's discretion. It means that no individual human being or the citizen of this country is allowed to take judgment related to any other work. The judgment part is only being authorized to the Department Judiciary, who is being able to take the judgment. Next word is sovereign. It means people have the supreme right to take decisions on internal as well as external matters. No external power can dictate the government of India. For example, see students, today we all know that we all are facing the problem of a great disease that is called coronavirus. For the coronavirus, whatever the decision is being taken for the development and the safeguard of the citizen of India is only and only taken by our government of India. It means our Prime Minister and the President. Over here, no other country is being allowed to take the decision of our country or the citizens of India. This is called sovereign, where the outside countries, it means our neighboring countries or any other country in the whole world, can take the decision related to the citizens of India. It has been and only given to the government of India, who can take the decision on external or internal matters related to this country. Next word is secularism. I repeat, next word is secularism. I repeat once again, next word is secularism. It refers to the separation of religion from the state. The Indian Constitution allows individuals the freedom to live by their religious beliefs and practice it. It means that this Constitution of India has given the freedom to every individual that he and she can follow the traditions and cultures by their own likes. It means if I am Hindu, I will be enjoying my Hindu tradition. If I am Christian, I will be enjoying my tradition. No one can stop me for enjoying my tradition and culture. Next to be continued, the next word is federalism. A system of government where there is the strong central controlling authority or the principles of a political party called the federalist. I repeat the word federalist. The system of government where there is one strong central controlling authority or the principles of a political party called the federalist. Now in this federalism word, I repeat, in this federalism word stands for why it is being used. See students, federalism, for example, in India we are having at present the BJP government. The BJP government is said to be the central government. Now this is known as federalism, and all the members of the BJP political party who are taking care to govern this nation are known as federalist. I repeat the word federalist. Next word is monarchy. A monarchy is a country that is ruled by a monarch, and monarchy is a system or form of the government. A monarch, such as a queen or king, rules the kingdom or empire. In a constitutional monarchy, the monarch's power is limited by a constitution, but in an absolute monarchy, the monarch has unlimited power. Now understand what is monarchy. See students, monarchy is said, we can take an example that like of Nepal. Nepal was having a king for several years. Okay, now here what had happened in Nepal. Few years earlier, Nepal was under a control of an absolute monarchy system. It means the king was taking the decision of its country, of its nation. No one was being allowed to go against or to form its own thing and tells about whatever they likes or dislike. They have to follow the rules and regulations made by the king. Now, after some time in Nepal, it came to the constitutional monarchy. Constitutional monarchy means where the power of the monarch, I repeat, where the power of the monarch was limited by a constitution. Some rules were written and made set for the monarch also and for the citizens also, where they have to follow those rules and regulations. This is called monarchy, and this is called, and another one is known as constitutional monarchy. And you will be very happy to know that Nepal is now being a totally absolute constitutional monarchy. It means it's a democratic country now. Monarchy system is totally being abolished from the Nepal. Next word is discrimination. I repeat, next word is discrimination. It means treating a person unfairly because of who they are or because they possess certain characteristics. The last word is characteristics. Now here, what is discrimination? See students, in the discrimination, we are treating any individual person separated from our own self. Example, a physically handicapped person. It means any person who has hand is not working or leg is not working or any other physical disorder he has or she has, the people used to discriminate or used to put those people separated from ourselves. This is called discrimination. Now the next word is separation of powers. Each branch of government has its powers fixed by the Constitution. The Constitution ensures that a balance of power is maintained between the legislature, executive and the judiciary. Here, the Constitution of India has divided all the work of the whole government, this country, into three parts. The legislature means the parliament. Executive means the member who is responsible to govern the nation. For example, a president, prime minister, chief ministers of states, even the vice president or president of Nagarpalika. Next is the judiciary. Now judiciary, repeat the word judiciary. Judiciary means the Supreme Court, the High Court or other district level of courts, including the Nyay Panchayat in the rural administration. Let's start with the book exercise. Question number 1. Why does a democratic country need a constitution? I repeat the question. Why does a democratic country need a constitution? Answer is, a democratic country needs a constitution because number 1, a constitution put down certain principles that form the basis of the kind of country that we as the citizens desire to live in. For it means that the Constitution has determined some set of principles by which we all can live very freely and as per our requirement. Number 2, our constitution tells us the fundamental nature of our society. It means that the constitution has given our society a form of nature, that these are the rules. You have to follow these rules. For example, you all know that you all are coming to the school, and when you are coming to the school, you have a specific school uniform that you have to wear. This is the nature of the school as per the rules and regulations. Same like here, the Constitution of India has decided the nature of our society, where every human being is allowed to live according to the tradition and culture, and we cannot stop any other person to follow our culture and tradition as per our requirements. Next is, our constitution helps serve as a set of rules and principles that all persons in a country can agree upon as the basis of the way in which they want the country to be governed. Now this, according to this rule or need, it has been said that the constitution helps, has mentioned some rules and regulations by which the government can easily tackle the functions of this country. It means they are not being confused what rules we have to follow and how can they perform the functions. Next is, the constitution also spells out the deeds the citizens believe that their country should uphold. It means that the citizens of the country has some criteria and ideals. Yes, you have to follow these rules. Apart from it, you have to follow these ideals to become like that and for help the government to perform the task easily. The next question is, what is the difference in who exercise executive powers in the 1990 and interim constitutions of Nepal? Keeping this in mind, why do you think Nepal needs a constitution today? In 1990, Nepal constitution, the executive powers of the kingdom was entirely in the hands of the king. According to the interim constitution drafted in 2007, the executive powers of Nepal are in the hands of the Council of Ministers. I repeat, was in the hand of the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. There was a dire need. Dire means that was, I can say it was a solely need, very important, for a new constitution, as the ideals of the people has changed, as the country has moved from a monarchy to a democracy. The old constitution was drafted when the country was under the rule of the king. The people of Nepal fought for a democratic government for many years. So, the old constitution does not reflect the ideals of the people. In the new constitution will change the rules of the old constitution in order to bring in a new society with new ideals. Let's continue with question number 3. What would happen if there were no restrictions on the power of elected representatives? It means that what will happen if there is no one to see that what our representatives are doing? The answer is, if there are no restrictions, I repeat, if there are no restrictions on the power of elected representatives, the leaders might misuse the powers given to them. The Indian Constitution provides safeguards against the misuse of power by our political leaders. The Constitution lays down the rules that guard the citizens against misuse of power. I repeat the answer once again for you. If there are no restrictions on the power of elected representatives, the leaders might misuse the powers given to them. The Indian Constitution provides safeguards against the misuse of power by our political leaders. The Constitution lays down rules that guard the citizens against the misuse of power. Now the next question is question number 4. In which of the following situations identify the minority? Write one reason why do you think it is important to respect the views of the minority in each case of these situations. Number A. In a school with 30 teachers, 20 of them are male. Number B. In a city, 5% of the population are Buddhist. Number C. In a factory mess, for all employees, 80% are vegetarians. Number D. In a class of 50 students, 40 belong to more well-off families. More well-off families means families which is higher in reputation or can be referred as rich people. Now in the answer of question number 4, the answer is like this. A. Female teachers are in the minorities. It is necessary to respect the views of the lady teachers also, as their viewpoints may also be in the best interest of the students. Number B. Buddhists are in the minority. Every individual has the right to follow the religion of his choice. Number C. Non-vegetarians are in the minority. The food of a person is his personal wish, so he should have the freedom to eat what he wants. Number D. The underprivileged are in the minority. Citizens cannot be discriminated by their birth. So, their views have to be respected. Now, let's continue with question number 5. Listed below are the key features of Indian Constitution. Write 2 sentences in your own words on why you think this feature is important key feature. What are the points that we have to write or discuss? Number A, federalism. I repeat, federalism. Number B, separation of powers. Next, parliamentary form of government. I repeat, parliamentary form of government. Next, fundamental rights. So, let's start with its answer with number first topic, federalism. It means more than one level of government in the country. India has 3 tiers of government. India needs a 3-tier of government because of diverse religion and cultural composition. I repeat, India needs 3-tier of government because of diverse religion and cultural composition of its citizens. A government at the center alone could not be effective for everyone. Continued with this question. Number B point is separation of powers. I repeat, separation of powers. In order to prevent the misuse of power by the elected representatives in the Constitution, advocate separation of powers. The separation of the power word means where the powers of the government is divided into its 3 parts by which every part can perform its function properly, just like as a human body. Mind has different power. Heart is doing different function. It has different power. The intestine, the digestive system has different parts. So every part is doing performing its own function. Same like here in the separation of powers, it is being divided into 3 parts: the legislature, executive, and the judiciary. Number C point is fundamental rights. I repeat, fundamental rights. Fundamental rights guarantees the rights of individuals against the state as well as against other individuals. I repeat the sentence. Fundamental rights guarantees the rights of individuals against the state as well as against other individuals. It protects minority communities and guarantees rights against the majority. I repeat the sentence. It protects minority communities and guarantees rights against the majority. With the question number 5, the 4th point is parliamentary form of government. I repeat, parliamentary form of government. In a parliamentary form of government, the Constitution guarantees universal adult franchise. I repeat, universal adult franchise for all citizens. That is, all adults have a right to vote irrespective of whether They are poor or rich, educated or uneducated, a Hindu, a Muslim, or a Christian, or any other religion. The idea of universal adult franchise is based on equality. Let's start with extra questions. Question number 1. In politics, what is a constitution? Answer. In politics, a constitution can be described as a document outlining the basic laws or principles by which a country is to be governed. Question number 2. Write a brief note on making of Indian Constitution. Answer. The Indian Constitutional Assembly, I repeat, the Indian Constitutional Assembly was convened in December 1946. The members of this assembly were only Indians. This assembly started drafting the constitution for independent India. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, who is said to be the father of Indian Constitution, was appointed as the chairman of the Constitution Drafting Committee. The Constitution declares India to be a sovereign, democratic republic and establishes the structures, procedures, powers and duties of the government and duties of the citizens. I repeat this line once again for you all. The Constitution declares India to be a sovereign, democratic republic and establishes the structure, procedures, powers and duties of the government and duties of the citizens. The 308 members of the assembly signed 2 handwritten copies of the document, one each in Hindi and English, on the January 24, 1950. 2 days later, on January 26, 1950, the Constitution of India became the law of all Indian lands, and that day we all started celebrating this great day as Republic Day. Now let's continue with question number 3. In Nepal, when did the interim constitution come into effect? I repeat the question. In Nepal, when did the interim constitution come into effect? Answer is, in Nepal, the interim constitution came into effect from January 15, 2007. Now question number 4. Write a brief note on the struggle for freedom in Nepal. Answer. In Nepal, there was a people's struggle for freedom in 1990. Democracy was established as it lasted for 12 years until 2002. In October 2002, King Gyanendra began taking over the government with the assistance of the army. In 2005, King Gyanendra took over as the head of the government. In 2006, People's Movement, I repeat, in 2006, People's Movement for Democracy began gaining immense force. Immense force means that democracy, the people who were moving for the democratic country, they were struggling for the democratic country, their powers, their forces, their authorities were getting double and triple of it. In April 2006, the king restored the third parliament and asked the political parties to form a government. I repeat, in 2006 April, the king restored the third parliament and asked the political parties to form a government. In 2007, Nepal adopted an interim constitution and Nepal gained political freedom. I repeat the last sentence. In 2007, Nepal adopted an interim constitution and Nepal gained political freedom. Now let's continue with question number 5. What are the negative points of a democratic society? In a democratic society, power can be misused. Sometimes the majority can undermine minority. The citizens need certain rules to save themselves from folly. Now, what does the word folly means? Folly means in getting into a trouble or bad situation. Now, question number 6. How can a leader misuse power in a democratic country? Leader misusing his power may send his security guards to beat up his neighbors for a personal reason, or can ask the police not to take action against a relative who has committed a crime. Now, this type of scenario you all have seen in the movies when the political leaders used to take advantage of their positions. Question number 7. How does the Indian Constitution safeguard the minorities of the country? I repeat the question. How does the Indian Constitution safeguard the minorities of the country? The Indian Constitution ensures that the dominant group does not use its power against other less powerful people or groups. The Constitution contains rules that ensure that minorities are not excluded from anything. Excluded means that they cannot be kept in a separated form. It means we have to take all in one category that is routinely available to the majority. It also prevents the domination of the majority over the minority. Let's continue with question number 8. What is secularism? Secularism is the right of the citizens to participate any religion. I repeat, secularism is the right of the citizens to participate any religion. A secular state is one in which the state does not officially promote any one religion as the state religion. Question number 9. What are the factors the drafting committee had to take into consideration while drafting the constitution? The committee had to keep in mind that India was the land of many communities, languages, and many religions. India was a land of diverse cultures, and the princely states in India had to be considered. The partition of the country into India, I repeat, the partition of the country into India and Pakistan was about to happen, and the drafting committee had to bear this in mind. Finally, the biggest concentration was socio-economic condition of the majority of Indians, which was in a bad state. Now let's continue with question number 10. What were the highlights of the text prepared by Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, who was the chairman of the Constitutional Drafting Committee? The answer is highlights of the text prepared by Dr. Ambedkar are: number 1, constitutional guarantees and protections. I repeat once again, constitutional guarantees and protections for individual citizens. Number 2, freedom of religion. Number 3, abolition of untouchability. I repeat, abolition of untouchability. Next, outlawing of all forms of discrimination. I repeat, outlawing of all forms of discrimination. Next, economic and social rights for women. Next point, reservations of jobs in civil services, schools and colleges for members of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. You all know scheduled caste and scheduled tribes are coming in minorities to give preference and support for their development. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar specially mentioned reservation for these people. Next question is, what is universal adult franchise? I repeat the question. What is universal adult franchise? Answer is, universal adult franchise is every adult citizen having a right to vote, irrespective of sex, caste, creed, education and financial status. I repeat, universal adult franchise is every adult citizen having a right to vote irrespective of sex, caste, creed, education, and financial status. Now let's begin with question number 12. What do you mean by the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary? The legislature refers to our elected representatives. The executive is a smaller group of people who are responsible for implementing laws and running the government. The judiciary refers to the system of the court in this country. Question number 13. What are the key components of fundamental rights? The key components of fundamental rights are right to equality, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, and right to constitutional remedies. So students, this is finally exercise of your chapter number 1, the Constitution of India. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that this video will enrich your content knowledge about this chapter. Have a great day ahead.